Please be seated. Chancellor, the Honourable Catherine Branson AC Casey, Vice-Chancellor and President Professor Peter Hoy AC, Guest Speaker Professor Emeritus David E. Lewis, Class of 1972, family, friends, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the beautiful Bonython Hall and welcome to your Golden Jubilee reunion. My name is Dr. Jessica Gallagher and I'm the Deputy Vice-Chancellor External Engagement at the University of Adelaide, and I'm delighted to be your Master of Ceremonies today. To officially start proceedings, I wish to acknowledge and pay respects to the Kaurna people, the traditional custodians whose ancestral lands we gather on. We acknowledge the deep feelings of attachment and relationship of the Kaurna people to country, and we respect and value their past, present, and ongoing connection to the land and cultural beliefs. To formally welcome us to Kaurna country, it gives me great pleasure to invite to the stage Uncle Rod.
Good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to give the welcome, as always, to country. And I just wanted to say I graduated 27 years ago, next door, unfortunately, but Uni SA, but was School of SA Institute of Technology back in the day. But anyway, 50 years is a long time to wait for a second graduation, but I honour you guys and I'll wish you all the best for today. So I'll get on with the welcome. Machuanga Gana Mena, no Wangadi, Mani Nabudni, Gani Atana, no Berko Mankalenkla, Tanenya Mianaku, Nachi Ungandaya, Nachi Yakandaya, Padni Adu Wadu. So on behalf of the Kaurna people, I welcome you to Kaurna country. I do this ambassador of the Adelaide Plains people. My brothers, my sisters, let's walk together in harmony. Natalia, thank you.
Thank you so much, Uncle Rod. This year, we're celebrating our 35th Golden Jubilee reunion, and we're so pleased that you've been able to join us in person for this commemorative occasion. Unfortunately, the pandemic continues to play havoc and has impacted the ability for some of your peers to attend the reunion. But we do welcome back today approximately 50 graduates from the class of 1972. To give our first welcome address this morning, I'd like to call upon Professor Peter Hoy, AC, Vice-Chancellor and President.
Thank you, Jessica. Good morning, Chancellor. Good morning to all of you, graduates of 1972, and ladies and gentlemen. It's always a pleasure to welcome alumni back to the University of Adelaide. For the 1972 graduates here today, this is of course a special welcome to your Golden Jubilee, celebrating 50 years since graduation and the many personal and professional achievements that followed your graduation. You were, like many others, at university during a decade of great change in Australia. The Whitlam government spent into office in 1972 after 23 years of Liberal Conservative government with a huge agenda for change, including making university education free. I'm a Woman was written and performed by Australian artist Helen Reddy. It topped the US charts, won her a Grammy, and became an anthem for the women's movement. Atari released Pong, one of the world's first video games, and the first pocket scientific calculator became available with a price tag of $395 in 1972. I remember it well. I was in high school, but I couldn't quite afford one. The rock opera Jesus Christ Superstar, which I also remember well, made its Australian premiere at the Adelaide Festival of Arts. And as David Bowie's Starman rose in the Australian music charts, Apollo 17 became the last manned space mission to the moon. Here at the University of Adelaide, things were also vastly different in 1972. Our Vice-Chancellor, Sir Geoffrey Badger, led a university with 8,789 students, with just under 1,000 studying a postgraduate qualification. We're, of course, many times bigger than that now. Grants from the Australian Research Grants Committee, the precursor to today's Australian Research Council, totalled almost $579,000. And that was 11% of what went to the national university cohort. Last year, we received $20 million from the ARC, and we had a total research income of $298 million. So a lot has changed. And it would be another 32 years before global university ranking measures came to influence students' university choices. This month, we were delighted to see your university rise in one of the most important university rankings in the world, the Times Higher Education World University Rankings, putting the University of Adelaide in the top 100 of universities in the world. More exactly, number 8, thank you, number 88 out of the world's more than 10,000 universities. And one of the reasons we did so well was our reputation. And our reputation is built on what our alumni contribute. So thank you for being part of this. And today, of course, we have almost 24,000 students from Australia and around the world who will soon join you to further build on our alumni cohort, which we estimate is now 159,000 strong across more than 148 countries. The experience of university in times of change or stability is more often than not a revelation for students. Education is transformative, and it opens opportunities to make invaluable contributions to your local world and the world at large. Today, with you, we celebrate the power of a great education and the opportunities it brings. I'm sure as you'll reflect on your years of study at the University of Adelaide, you will all see how the experience has shaped you and played a part in your success. We are delighted to renew and strengthen our connection with you and to give you the chance to catch up with old friends. Your achievements are part of the history of this university, and that is something we look forward to celebrating further during our 150th anniversary in 2024. We hope to see some of you at those celebrations. We hope you will be part of that celebration and that today you can reconnect with that sense of joy and satisfaction you felt upon graduations 50 years ago. And I might just finish by saying we often hear about individual achievements of alumni, such as the Braggs or the Flories or the Oliphants. But the true impact of our institution is what our 159,000 alumni, including you, have done and continue to do to make this world a better place. And for that, we sincerely thank you.
Thank you, Vice-Chancellor. Our guest speaker today is Professor Emeritus David E. Lewis, who graduated from the University of Adelaide in Organic Chemistry with a Bachelor of Science in 1972. He went on to receive his Bachelor of Science honours in 1973 and his PhD in 1980. Professor Emeritus Lewis is a distinguished academic with a long career in both research and teaching. Born in Tailem Bend, he began his education in Snowtown and graduated from Salisbury High School before starting at the University of Adelaide in 1969. Professor Emeritus built his career in the United States, beginning at the University of Arkansas, followed by the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, South Dakota State University, and finally, the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire. He retired as Professor Emeritus earlier this year. He has won countless awards and honours, and his most recent and highest impact research has been in the history of chemistry, specifically the development of organic chemistry in Russia. He received the 2018 HIST Award for Outstanding Achievement in the History of Chemistry, followed by the 2019 Makovnikov Medal for Outstanding Achievement in Organic Chemistry, being the only non-Russian to ever receive this award. From Snowtown to Siberia, Professor Emeritus Lewis will share how Adelaide University served as a career catalyst. Please join me in welcoming Professor Emeritus Lewis to give the Golden Jubilee address for the class of 1972.
Thank you for that overly flowery introduction. Friends, Chancellor, fellow graduates of 1972, welcome back. I noticed we put on the weather, so it was a lovely gathering for us. To say I was flabbergasted when I was invited to speak to you is a gross understatement. Last week I told an old friend about my selection, and he said, "Congratulations, Dave, and condolences to your audience." Regardless, I'm a proud graduate of this university and proud of its nearly 150 years of contributions to the welfare of our planet and its peoples. We still hold the Australian record for Nobel laureates, including the youngest science laureate, Sir William Lawrence Bragg, who shared the 1915 prize in physics with his father at age 25. That ain't going to happen again. Now, this university has been my career catalyst. Catalyst is something that promotes a particular outcome, facilitates it. Over the last 5 decades, I've had some remarkable experiences, and I trace all of them to the education and the encouragement I got here. Just think, how did a skinny kid from Snowtown, and no, I haven't seen the movie, and no, I'm not going to, Snowtown and then Salisbury, become a professor at an American university and end up giving keynote speeches in Russia? This university was my catalyst, expanding my view of what I could do and inspiring me to try things I'd never dreamed of trying. We moved to Salisbury when I was in grade 4, and I finished my primary and secondary schooling there. I still have fond memories of Salisbury High, where I ended up as head prefect and was actually selected for the A football team, despite being, as a friend from those days tells me, an uncoordinated mass of elbows and knees. Yeah, I wasn't very good. I was the first member of my family to finish high school, and I don't think that made me particularly unusual at Adelaide at the time. I was the first to attend university, and I didn't really know what to expect. I actually nearly blew my freshman registration because I did not read the directions all the way to the end. I can now state unequivocally, after a 40-year career, that I was not unusual. An inability to read instructions appears to be endemic in many undergraduates, of whom I was a poster child. The organic chemistry department during my time here was undeniably the best in Australia. 4 of my teachers were recruited by other institutions. Ethel Beckwith and Lou Mander by the Research School of Chemistry at ANU. They both finished up Fellows of the Royal Society. Rolf Prager was recruited to a chair of chemistry at Flinders. And we did manage to hold on to John Bowie, who eventually became the youngest professor of chemistry here at the university. And he was honoured by the Australian and New Zealand Society for Mass Spectrometry. They named their highest award after him, the Bowie Medal. I was the first Adelaide student in my family, The second was my daughter, my South Dakota-born daughter. I used to tease her when she was looking, where are you going to go to college? I don't know. Have you thought about Adelaide? I'm not going where you went. So, of course, when she made her decision, so have you made a decision? Yeah. Where are you going? Adelaide. And in 2009, she entered Adelaide. She graduated in 2012, exactly 40 years after her dad. And oddly enough, 24 hours after her dad got his DSC. So we had a double graduation, and we're very proud of the fact my daughter would have killed me. We kept it quiet, which means that even the way that media folks can squirrel out a photo opportunity, they missed on this one. So now I'm supposed to regale you with some humorous incidents of my student days at Adelaide. I'm sorry to disappoint you. I was a singularly drab undergraduate. I'm sure that my memories pale against those of most of you, but that's partly because of the destruction of brain cells while I was a postgraduate student here. I was a member of the organic choir, and we would meet at the Union Tavern at 5 p.m. and begin singing at 6 p.m. We thought that the beer enhanced our choral prowess. Apparently, we were the only ones who did. I'm here. Still, yeah, I do have really fond memories. The Refek, the very best lamb's fry in the world, and I have tried it all around the world, and I know it's right. The cloisters, the Bar Smith lawns during Prosh Week. Prosh Week, some of them. And the fillet of sole in the restaurant that is now the University of Adelaide Club. It used to be the restaurant underneath the Union Tavern. So in 1976, just before Christmas, I moved to the US, and I joined the University of Arkansas as a research associate. Now, you're probably thinking, Arkansas? Arkansas? Yeah, Arkansas. We had a postdoc from Arkansas in my lab, and he suggested that I apply there. Well, I looked, and the chemistry was interesting, so I did, and it was very lucky that I did. Now, what do you reckon were the odds? Here's a question for you. I teach for a living, so I'm used to asking questions. What are the odds? Australian boy meets Minnesota girl in Arkansas bar, and they live happily ever after. I met my wife at the end of October 1977, and this past May we celebrated our 44th wedding anniversary. And yeah, I am a lucky guy. Now, to throw another little wrinkle into the Arkansas story, my first week on the staff there coincided with the last week on the staff of a young professor of law at the university. He left to become the Attorney General of the state. You may have heard of him, William Jefferson Clinton. I never got to meet Bill. My postdoctoral boss, however, played bridge with them regularly. Now, this story is not all roses and scent. I didn't realize it at the time, but towards the end of my PhD research, I actually fell into a pretty nasty depression. It was my wife, Debbie, who rescued me, the person, and it was John Bowie who rescued me, the scientist. Now, John remains a very special friend and a valued mentor to me, and has done ever since. I'll bet some of you have also got that kind of really close relationship with a member of staff who was one of your teachers. In my case, it's with John, lifelong and life-affirming, and I'm very proud to have known him. Now, I spent the years between 1980 and 1997 working at universities up and down the middle of the country. A year in Illinois, 7.5 years at Baylor in Waco, Texas, 8.5 years at South Dakota State, and then 25 years ago moved to the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire. In Waco, I began the research that led to the discovery of the antiviral dyes in my first patents, my first US patents. I am an organic chemist, but the history of chemistry, which began as a hobby, gradually came to dominate my research. Organic chemists routinely use the name of the discoverer of a reaction as a shorthand for that reaction. So, to give you the example, the addition of alkyl magnesium halides to aldehydes and ketones to give alcohols becomes the Grignard reaction. Now, the thing is, we use the names, but we very seldom know anything else about the chemist. And I was writing my first organic chemistry textbook. I decided that chemists really ought to know, or students really ought to know, that this chemistry was done by real people with real foibles. I mean, one actually got exiled out of Siberia. Think about that for a minute. Well, where do you go when you get kicked out of Siberia? At any rate, while I was writing that, I'd suddenly discovered a third of the reactions that I taught my introductory students were coming out of Russia. I'd always thought it was Germany. No, Russia. Now, I had a certain affinity for Russia because I had seen the movie Dr. Zhivago several times. Julie Christie was absolutely beautiful. But also, if you remember the movie, all the dialogue is in English and all the writing is in Cyrillic. So I had an affinity. Now I just have a grown-up affinity for Russia, which is different. So until I began this research, I'd never heard of Kazan, the capital of the Republic of Tatarstan. This is a truly multicultural city, and it's 800 kilometers east of Moscow on the Volga River, right where the Volga turned south. My first trip, the university there was founded in 1804, and by the end of the 19th century, over half of the professors of chemistry in Russia had a direct or indirect connection to the university. My first paper in the history of chemistry, I referred to Kazan as the provincial cradle of Russian organic chemistry. The Kazan chemists liked it, and they still use it. So, now, my first actual trip to Russia was in 2013, and in the ensuing years, until the advent of a certain 5-letter virus, I was regularly invited to give keynote lectures at conferences. My first trip was, obviously, to Kazan, and it included my first experience with Russians and vodka. Now, this could have been dangerous, but these were good Russians, and what they did, they said, okay, we drink vodka in toasts, and you drink it this way, and you will not get drunk. I learned how to drink vodka without getting snockered, which was lovely. Now, Russia has treated me well. I'm sorry. I used to have this effect on my organic chemistry students at 8 o'clock in the morning as well. But anyway, I've been treated well by Russia. I mean, I've had a dinner cruise on the Moscow River. I visited Peter the Great's Hermitage Museum in St. Petersburg and the Summer Palace. I visited Dmitry Mendeleev's apartment in St. Petersburg State University and Ivan the Terrible's fortress at Sviazhsk. Lots of stories there. I've lectured in Yekaterinburg, which is where the Tsar and his family were murdered in 1919. I've visited a glacier in the Caucasus Mountains. We had to go through 2 armed military checkpoints to get there because the glacier was 20 kilometers from a hot war zone with Georgia. And they didn't like the idea that all these scientists were going to just go on up there, but we got through, and it was cold. In 2017, I took 4 students to Tomsk in Siberia. Now, I don't know what you think Siberia looks like, but I was expecting plains, right? Grass everywhere, and probably 8 feet of snow. No, it's trees. Trees everywhere. And we were there in July. It was also 95 Fahrenheit, which is what, about 35 Celsius? 95% humidity, and there was no air conditioning. Why? The summer only lasts 42 days. They don't bother. So, anyway, it's time for me to shut up. So what message do I have to leave you with? Well, for this skinny kid, it doesn't look like it now, but it was, from Snowtown and Salisbury, Adelaide University was the key catalyst that allowed him to build a career in America and become a respected scholar in Russia. This has been a singular honour for me, and I thank you for your attention, and now let's party. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Emeritus Lewis, for those inspiring words. It was really great to hear about the impact of the teachers that you worked with, the friendships that you've developed. And I would really like to hear the performance of that choir, both before and after the refreshments sometime.
I don't know how many of them are left alive. I mean, I think some may have been buried with their livers receiving separate military honours.
That's another speech, I think, for another day. Golden Jubilee graduates, today we celebrate the days in 1972 when you received your parchment and you set off to make your mark in the world as freshly minted University of Adelaide alumni. Some of you might remember that moment like it was yesterday. Others might have missed the chance to walk across the stage in 1972. But one thing is for certain, the thrill of receiving your testama, regardless of the circumstances, is a special moment and one that we hope you'll be able to recapture today. I'd now like to call upon the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Peter Hoy AC, to announce the names of our graduates that are here today from 1972, and to the Chancellor, the Honourable Catherine Branson, ACKC, to present the commemorative certificate. Please make sure that you pause for a photograph.
Thank you, Jess. Ready to go, I think. To the degree of Bachelor of Applied Science, Anthony Caruso. Thank you. To the degree of Bachelor of Applied Science in Primary Metallurgy, Damien Connolly. To the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Rob Bickford. Continuing with the Bachelor of Arts, David Dewar. And again, Bachelor of Arts, Jacqueline Jacobs-Nee Haynes. And further Bachelor of Arts, Emeritus Professor Pukong Ki. And further, Bachelor of Arts, Peter Muller. And Stephanie Page. And continuing with Bachelor of Arts, Kay Rodder. And further Bachelor of Arts, Trevor Wilkins. To the degree of Bachelor of Arts with Honours, Rodney Burton. To the degree of Bachelor of Dental Surgery, Dr. Igor Chernovin. To the degree of Bachelor of Economics, Mark Gregerson. Further, to the degree of Bachelor of Economics, Graham Hambley. And again, degree of Bachelor of Economics, Robert Patterson. And again, Bachelor of Economics, Alistair Wood. Now to the degree of Bachelor of Engineering, Mechanical, Alan Palmer. And to the degree of Bachelor of Laws, Phil Page. And further, to the degree of Bachelor of Laws, Christopher Sharp. To the degree of Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery, Dr. Graham Talbot. To the degree of Bachelor of Music, Sandy McMenamin. To the degree of Bachelor of Pharmacy, Helen Brower, Nee Phillips. Further, to the degree of Bachelor of Pharmacy, Trevor Craig. Continuing with Bachelor of Pharmacy, John Di Fiore. And for Bachelor of Pharmacy, Joanna Heather Nee van Diemen. And Bachelor of Pharmacy again, Rob O'Shaughnessy. To the degree of Bachelor of Science, Peter Bricks. To the degree of Bachelor of Science, Nicola Colasante. To the degree of Bachelor of Science, John Heath. To the degree of Bachelor of Science, Professor Emeritus David Lewis. And of course, Professor Lewis, we have a fantastic head of school of chemical engineering called Professor David Lewis. He's not here today, but it's a good chemical name, that one. To the degree of Bachelor of Science Honours, Dr. Michael Gerard. And Dr. Frank Morgan. To the degree of Bachelor of Technology, Jaroslav Frankiv. To the degree of Bachelor of Technology Electronic, Jeffrey Boundy. To the degree of Bachelor of Technology Mechanical, Roger Bills. Again, to the degree of Bachelor of Technology Mechanical, Brian Scuds. To the Diploma in Education, Adjunct Associate Professor, Adrian Vickery. To To the degree of Doctor of Medicine, Dr. Brett Gooden. And again, to the degree of Doctor of Medicine, Professor Jack Wall. To the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Dr. Peter Fleming. To the degree of Doctor of Philosophy and Science, Dr. Bill Carey, PSM. Again, to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy and Science, Dr. Sylvan Elhay. To the Roseworthy Diploma in Agricultural Technology, Lachlan McLaren. Again, to the Roseworthy Diploma in Agricultural Technology, Mike Wake. To the Roseworthy Diploma in Enology, John Ellis. And we here have a special guest from the 1970 and 1971 cohort, to the degree of Bachelor of Arts, and in 1971 to the Diploma of Education, Judith Windsor. Thank you, Chancellor. Please join me in applauding the achievements of our graduates from 1972 and 71.
Thank you, Chancellor and Vice-Chancellor. As our ceremony draws to a close, I would like to take a moment to thank and acknowledge those who have made today so special. Firstly, I'd like to thank all of you who have taken the time to provide photographs and stories for the commemorative booklet, as well as to help with our search and identifying lost graduates. Secondly, thank you to our wonderful staff and volunteers who have made today possible, with special mention to our extraordinary volunteer, Ellen Randva, who has spent many hours compiling submissions for the commemorative booklet, which will be distributed next week. You'll shortly be asked to stand as the official party leaves the stage. Graduates will follow from the front row to the back, and our ushers will assist you in directing to the relevant side of the hall. Just like the first time in 1972, guests are requested to wait until all graduates have left the hall and then exit via either of our exits. We will convene for a photograph. I believe that this will now be on stage as opposed to in front of the hall because the weather isn't being our friend today. But again, our staff will assist with ushering you to the right location. The photograph will be provided to all of you, as well as the digital commemorative booklet over the next couple of weeks. Graduates will be able to return borrowed gowns after the group photograph has been taken. Following the group photograph and return of the academic dress, the doors to the hall will reopen and you'll be able to join us for a light lunch, which will be followed by tours for those who have registered. Thank you to everyone who's been involved in this morning's ceremony, class of 1972 and special guest from 1971. We hope that you enjoy the rest of your Golden Jubilee reunion day. Thank you all again, congratulations, and our sincere thanks for the impact that you've made and continue to make. Please be upstanding now for the academic procession.
Yes, do we go first?